Okay, people. Feeling really good today. My glutes and quads are finally unsore from those Hatfield Bulgarians, which I am going to do a video on next week because they were so amazing, even though they messed up my training for the rest of the week because I did too much volume. And that's what I want to talk about. This is a lesson that I've known for a while. This is something I've known for years, but I still made the mistake on because I had a passion to work out. Because I'm wanting to get back in the best shape possible. So I want to talk about the topic of high frequency and high volume and why you cannot really truly have both. You have to pick one or the other. Especially when it comes to working up to daily maxes or training maxes. Keep in mind I didn't say true maxes like a competition max, but a daily max or a training max. So my main goal currently is to get back in the groove of conventional deadlift and to get back and get the goal of hitting a 405 paused squat for 2 seconds, which I've never done. Keep in mind, powerlifting style squat, I've hit 445 and 450 with a belt, parallel forming up, but I've never hit a beltless 405 pause squat, so that's my main goal. So that means that 3 times a week during this training phase, I want to work up to working max, like at least one working max single 3 times a week on a squat variation. This week I plan on doing front squat, pause front squat, probably same with next week as well. I want to throw in different variations certain days, 10-second pause squat, 4-second pause squat. Like I said, probably the SSB or cambered bar might even get worked in for a single here and there too. But then I also want to do a working single on the conventional deadlift. Keep in mind I said working single, not true max. But, heavy enough to be, like where that's, a good amount of weight. About, I want to say, probably close to 70% of one rep max. And so what I'm saying is if you have a workout designed where, okay, you have that being your goal, where you want to work up to these training max singles 3 times a week, or maybe even more, don't have a workout where you go and do 5 sets of 12 or something on like the Hatfield Bulgarian split squat, because that's going to give you way too much fatigue. Now, there is an argument whether or not that could give you some muscular hypertrophy. It could. Obviously, I was working some muscles that didn't get worked so much during conventional deadlifts and squats and even leg press. With those Hatfield Bulgarians, are exposed to weakness in my glutes and the upper half of my quadriceps. So, needless to say, a good thing came out of the bad thing. I've said that before, but when you have a program where you're trying to do these working max or daily max singles, you're not going to be able to go and do 5 sets of 10 or 5 sets of 12 after and adequately recover. Because fatigue doesn't always equal performance at the end of the day. Keep in mind, it can be good for hypertrophy, for increasing muscular size, which you can still do without fatigue, without that high fatigue anyway. And that's not saying that I won't do the Hatfield Bulgarians. I plan on doing them actually next week, but I'm going to keep it at 2 sets of 8, instead of like 5 sets of 12, because that's pretty counterproductive towards my end result goals. Yeah, I might have really, worked some fibers and exposed a weakness that I need to improve upon, which is a good thing because I know I need to program some of that. But I took the volume a little bit too far to reach the performance goals. So at the end of the day, you have to really pick one or the other in your programming. And obviously that can be based off of goals too, right? Like if your goal was to do, like, let's say your goal was to do like a men's physique contest or something like that, right? Maybe, a performance-based program that was centered around solely increasing your squat or deadlift or overhead press strength might not be the best option, right? Like you during that type of programming, doing those daily max singles might not be that optimal for that end result goal. Maybe you would be better off with like a 5-day bodybuilder split where you go in and you have a leg day and you do 5 sets of 10 on squats and 3 sets of 50 on the leg press and then 3 sets of 15 on the stiff leg and deadlift. You would probably be better off doing that style of programming if those were your goals. Especially, when it came towards, actually getting ready for that contest, right? But if your goal was, powerlifting, wrestling, increasing your general strength, or regaining strength that you previously had, especially a lower body lift like the squat and deadlift, and you wanted to program in, doing working max singles or top sets, so to say, either those or top sets when I'm talking about high frequency. Even if you did the 20 rep squat program, that's still considered high frequency, lower volume, because you're not going and doing like 5 sets of 10 or something like that, right? So you really have to choose in your programming between high volume and high frequency. You can't, it's hard to really have both. Now on the bench press, I've realized with myself, I can do workouts that have, the volume is relatively high, but it's a lower total rep scheme, like 10 sets of 3, versus doing, 4 sets of 10. That's a little bit more specific towards strength, but most of the time, you got to make a choice between high volume and high frequency. You're not truly going to be able to have both. You're going to have to make that decision at some point when it comes to your programming. And that's something that, like, a lot of us that get caught up in the heat of the moment of working out do, and there can be some good, like I said, lessons learned from what I refer to as passion workouts, where I go a little bit too far and might overtrain a bit, but there's also downsides to overtraining. And if anybody tells you, like if you were to watch I know there's a lunatic out here, the Rage 191, where he says, there's no such a thing as overtraining, and he yells and all that shit. It does exist, but for a lot of people, it's usually a lot less than what they think it is in terms of like reaching overtraining. But you have to have that balance of volume, especially when you're wanting to do top sets and working singles. That balance of volume to where, okay, like if I go and do these 2 sets of 8, a Bulgarian Hatfield split squat, or maybe an RDL, that's going to be enough to stimulate a little bit more hypertrophy, but it's not going to like take away from my gains or fatigue me so much that I can't come in the day after next and hit those same daily max working singles again, so to speak. So that's the takeaway that I have for you guys, is you either got to pick one or the other, high volume or high frequency. I know it's kind of a ramble, but you can't truly have both, because there's going to be, like, something's going to oppose at some point, something's going to give. It's like a teeter-totter. So I hope that's informative. I hope you guys get something out of that. If you disagree with me, like I said, that's cool too. This channel's just about me working out and passing out a bit of information to subscribers in particular. So I want you all to stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and have a good one.